Good day and welcome to this special edition of Spotlight we call GM's Corner, a regular series of short conversations with LMOA's General Manager Steve Hurwitz about what's on his mind and what's on his agenda. Well, just not far into the new year, Mr. GM, we have a new operator, Billy Casper Golf, here running the food and beverage operation. What's happened so far? Where do we stand? It's a transition period.
It certainly is, and it's an exciting one. This kind of changeover literally happened at about 2:33 a.m. on January 1st when keys got handed over and Billy Casper Golf started. So, taking over an operation like our F&B with all the implications and all the people involved as owners and customers, participants in various ways, is a big deal. I think we've gotten off to a real good running start. Billy Casper Golf came in with senior management from their headquarters, regional and national, and they've been here helping start things, getting to go with really no interruption in service. And in fact, a real exciting announcement is that their manager, who will in the long run be managing here, not the people from their corporate headquarters, though they'll be here a lot, has been hired and announced. It's Carl Lashley, who's got a great experience. He's a chef and has a lot of experience running restaurants, managing them, as well as back in the kitchen. So we're very excited about Carl starting on January 29th. In the meantime, things have gotten off to a flying start with the usual business, the weekend breakfasts, the lunch crowd, the groups, the dining groups that are very important for a lot of reasons, and those have largely gone very well. It's a challenge to integrate the specific expectations and so forth of each of the groups, but they've paid careful attention to that. So, in my opinion, it's gone really very well, helped by the fact that people are very understanding about what's going on. It's a big change. And speaking for Billy Casper Golf, I know they appreciate it. They've told me how nice the people are here and understanding that as they get everything straight, they're working really hard to do that and to understand exactly what the needs and requirements are for each of the groups, and then individual customers that come in also to just have a nice lunch or a dinner. And so I think it's going very well, and look forward to even bigger things happening.
Yeah, well, I suppose it's to be expected in any transition, but there have been anecdotal evidence of pleasure and displeasure by a couple of groups anyway, of personal knowledge of. But I guess that's just part of any normal transition.
Yes, and from my standpoint, one of the big payoffs from this change is, as far as I know, every one of those comments that had a negative aspect to it, and that there was something that needed to be done differently or better, has been attended to in the current case by the senior management that's here, and in the long run, when the manager's here, they do, it's one of their strong points, paying attention to the customers. So we look forward to people letting us know, letting Billy Casper Golf know. In addition, we have the F&B committee that is an wonderful intake mechanism for receiving all kinds of inputs, ideas and suggestions, and passing it on to, in this case, Billy Casper Golf. They've already attended one of the F&B committee's meetings, and it was a great exchange, very factual based. Let's get on with it and get the job done. So that's a real great, that's a terrific thing to have happen. And I would encourage anybody that has any comments for F&B to go ahead and send it in to customers, to member services, email it in, and that will be funneled right to that F&B committee.
All right, so that's the kind of feedback you've been receiving so far.
Yes, largely very good.
That's good. What kind of changes may they be considering, if anything?
Well, once Carl is in place, we look forward to what they've said is to redo the menu with a little better idea about what people want. That's real possible, and I know that they're thinking about other changes like returning to midweek breakfast, which I think would be very well received. if we can do it efficiently, and they think that's possible. We do have a couple of nights of the week where in the late evenings there's almost no business, and if there aren't any customers, there's really not much point in being open. So there may be a change there about one night a week, which has traditionally not been very busy for us. But they're also looking forward to the new menu, and then meeting the customers' needs in whatever ways are possible. I know that they're seriously looking at events, support to golf in various ways, and then again meeting the dining group's needs, and then meeting the needs and expectations, including a real strong emphasis for them is make consistency. So if you have a Reuben sandwich one day and a Reuben sandwich 3 days later with a different cook in the kitchen, it's in fact the same Reuben sandwich, and the same is true for all the other items on the menu.
Yeah. They've been able to hire and train staff, because I know there was a turnover when the transition was coming.
Yes, indeed. They have. In fact, they brought in some excellent talent, and I think that's a real positive sign too.
Oh well, that's good, because that's one of those sticking points with people who obviously say, listen, it's fine, but they're undermanned. I had to wait so long that I forgot what I was here for. But anyway, that's good. So, and they have kept up with the music. That's the weekly music. That's a nice draw, I would imagine.
Yes, last Friday, the place was hopping. You had to hunt for a seat.
Oh.
At the bar or on the floor.
Excellent.
So we'll see how that goes. That's personally, I think it's a place to go.
Yeah.
To come and see your friends and to really relax and enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
And they're fully capable. They've done that many other places of creating that kind of atmosphere.
Well, we've had some very good talent appearing the Thursday and Friday nights, including one of our own broadcast crew, but we'll preserve his identity, but he goes by another one. But anyway, there have been barcodes are in the news again, for heaven's sakes. We had a very good response and step up a purchase of barcodes at the end of last year, and now there's this rumor going around. Could you tell us about that?
Well, according to what I've heard, the story is that we were curtailing invalidating barcodes that had recently been issued. So there's actually some information that we'll be putting out through all the other media, but the real story is that's just not true. However, as we continue to improve the barcode system and really take a look at how it's meeting the needs of residents, we asked all residents to get barcodes to expedite entry, so to reduce the length of the lines in the assisted entry, and that's had a big impact. In fact, once on January 1st, we started putting all the normal requirements in place, which is if you're a resident and you come in through the main gate, you have to show photo ID. The same is true at Turkey Sag. That's always been a requirement. We just didn't have the means to do it. But because more people have gotten barcodes, the assisted lines are shorter, both at Turkey Sag and at the main gate, and it becomes feasible to do that. And in fact, many people are getting barcodes so that it's more convenient for them. So overall, it's working. What's also true is the database is well above 10,000, 13,000 records, and that is constantly managed and reviewed, and we have about 8 or 10 reasons why, when we open it up and look at a record for an individual barcode, why it might be terminated. It could have been a tenant that left, could be an owner that left, and then all other kinds of reasons. So when you're making that many transactions, it is possible to make a mistake. We think that happened in one case, though it was a little less of a mistake than there was missing data and we couldn't identify it. So if anybody thinks they have a barcode that was wrongfully turned off, all I have to do is contact Andrea with security in the police department, and that can be corrected tout suite. So,
all right. So there is no policy, no insidious campaign to defraud people of their barcodes.
No.
Okay.
No, and we don't want to do that. And then again, if people call, it can be corrected. As far as I know, the maximum inconvenience anyone suffered was maybe 15 seconds talk at the gate. No one's been refused entry who's entitled to it.
Okay. Well then, and we also apparently have had some questions raised by members about the policy. Maybe this is another transition question of our newspaper, Lake Views. Tell us what's been brewing out there among the members.
Well, this is a big one, because anytime you talk about communicating to the community, it is a big deal and a very serious responsibility. So concerning the newspaper, there are two factors that popped up. One was kind of a simple one. It was, if you're not entitled by virtue of being a member to a copy mailed to you at your address, that there always was a written procedure in place. In fact, it's in the newspaper itself to charge $20. And so we took a look at, so in the transition, the person now responsible for the paper saw that and just started doing it, at least in terms of this is what we would do. And we're taking another look at that. Because there's another related point. At the same time, the digital copy has previously always been available to the public on the public side of our webpage.
Yes.
But we took steps to make it only available on the member side, which meant that everyone else who was not a member, all kinds of people, people who used to live here, who now live in another part of the country, but love to keep up on what's happening at the lake, and then all kinds of people that are interested in maybe looking at real estate here. Sure. Advertisers, again, multiple kinds of people.
Important.
So that was a kind of a startup, a little bit of a startup, one step forward, two steps back. Now we're taking 3 steps forward. That's being corrected immediately or adjusted. We much better to make that very fine product, the newspaper, available to whoever would like to look at it, whether they're a member or not. Yeah. And we appreciate people letting us know about that, which they certainly did.
Right. Well, it's certainly to our advantage to do so, and so enable people to have an idea of what life is like here at the lake and what's going on. That's all positive stuff. No particular reason to restrict that, especially among those who are interested and still want to remain interested.
That really is the logic to it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. We're correcting a lot of stuff here this morning. Let's keep on a roll. With the start of a new year and new LMOA budget and the like, how do people keep up with the financials, the income and expense and comparison to budget, et cetera, as we go along? After all, folks, number interested enough. After all, it's quote, our money.
Well, there's a couple of ways. A traditional way was you could go online and look at the minutes, the agendas for meetings, both committees and the board, and then the financials, when they're posted, are always available. That's a bit of a homework assignment and a little bit difficult, so we're making it easier in a couple of ways. The board, there's a calendar for developing the budget, and this year we're going to publish that calendar much earlier in the year, so anybody that's interested can see when budget items are being discussed, and they're virtually all open meetings. Only when certain aspects of contracts not yet signed or under discussion. So virtually just about every other financial matter is in an open meeting. So people who are interested could come and make comments. That would include the finance committee, certainly the board, and then inputs to the staff directly to me that are not only welcome, they're important for the community, as well as the more formal opportunities. So there'll be a calendar very soon, as soon as the board approves it, that'll be published so people know when they can do that. The other piece of it is we have a responsibility to publish the actual financial statements in brief form, and we're going to endeavor to write an explanation. It's one thing to have the income and expense statement. It's another thing to have a paragraph saying, here's how we're doing. We're doing better than budget in this area and this area.
That makes good sense.
And, it's a little bit of description. So we're committed to both those ways of letting people where their money is.
All right. Well, that's terrific. Well, thank you for bringing us up to date. We've covered a fair amount of ground, and apparently you're going to be covering a fair amount of ground in the future. It's going to interrupt somewhat our semi-monthly schedule of these conversations, and there's some technical reasons involved also. So we're going to be taking a bit of an hiatus from this, and especially while you're away. I haven't got those remote, not that far capability as yet, but we'll be back with folks. I guess it's about the mid-March in our first and third Tuesday recording sessions, and so we wish you good travels, and people can just left to their own devices. What are they going to do without GM's Corner? But anyway, thanks very much. You have been watching GM's Corner, this series of conversations with LMOA's General Manager, Steve Hurwitz. So hope you will, you can go on good old channel 977 and catch the, look at the schedule and catch the previous, if you haven't had enough for one or you missed and want to find out what information's going. Dig our 977, and always, of course, up on YouTube. And so there are the other programming brought to you by LMOA's broadcast group. So till we see you next time, whenever, mid-March, looks like it. So hang with 977 and YouTube. Thanks very much for watching. On behalf of the LMOA broadcast group, I'm Ron Krause. Good day.